Hey there, this is CyberAngel67 bringing a video on how to connect the Xbox One to Windows devices. Now, it is pretty easy and straightforward, but I thought I'd also, while I'm showing you the Xbox app, go through some of its features as well. So let's just quickly get the Xbox set up. So the first thing we really need to do is go into settings and preferences, and we just need to make sure that this here is switched on. And basically that's going to allow us to now stream to compatible devices. I assume at this stage that it's only Windows 10 devices, but by the description there, I'm going to assume that that will be any device that actually supports this feature, which is going to be pretty much Windows 10 devices anyway, I assume. So that's that step of it, and now we just run the Xbox app on the Windows side. Okay, so Xbox One has now been configured and set up to stream to Windows 10. So all we need to do now is launch the Xbox app. Okay, now at this point here, there's going to be a number of things that happen. If you've already signed in, if you've already associated a Microsoft account or Xbox Live account to your login, you will not see this. It'll probably try and log you in automatically. If that is not a Xbox Live account, you're probably going to have to go to your settings and manually add it. If you haven't done that, then you can safely do select this, and when you enter this information here, this is going to be the Xbox Live account that we're going to associate with the Xbox app. If you've forgotten your password, you can reset it, I believe this is going to do, or retrieve information. Then if you don't have one and you want to create a Microsoft account and associate your Xbox to, you can do it from here as well. For now, I'm just going to pause the video and enter the information. So once the Xbox app has now launched, this is what the first screen is going to look like. For now, we're just going to very quickly go and connect the Xbox. Now, if it doesn't show up here and you know the IP address of the console, you can actually manually enter it here and do a connect. But because it's actually shown up, I can just select it from here. So now it's connected. We can actually now see what we've got here. We can disconnect, connect the automatically, which is by default every time the Xbox app launches. We can turn it off, or we can forget the console. Forgetting the console basically deregisters it or deattaches it from here, and that means we'll just have to reconnect it each time we do that. But for now, it's pretty basic stuff. If you turn the console off from here, you can also turn it on. Now, you must be in instant on to be able to switch it on from the Xbox app, otherwise it won't work. Stream, I won't go into that just yet. Test streaming, you can use this to test whether you've got a fast enough network, or whether the device is capable of doing it. On Wi-Fi, I've had unpredictable results. Basically what that means is that even though it told me on my Surface Pro I couldn't do any streaming, if I had it to a lower setting, I could still stream quite well, but there were times where it did pretty much stuff up a little bit. You can see that I've got Halo playing in the background on the Xbox One at the moment. I've got the basic controls. If you're familiar with Smart Glass, these will be all automatically familiar with you by changing the volume, etc. The one thing I didn't know is that this actually controls my AV receiver. Um, Basically, I've got it hooked up to a receiver so that all the video signals go into that, and then I just switch it over to whichever device I want to be playing. Um, the thing is, I can actually mute and all that sort of stuff from here, and that'll just turn the AV receiver down or switch it muted and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, controlling the TV1 guide, cable satellite box, etc. from here as well. So it's just pretty much the same as what the Smart Glass app pretty much does already. If you have two Xboxes, you can add another device here. I don't know whether it will allow you to just select which one you've got here. I don't have two Xboxes to try it. It would be interesting to know that if someone actually has two Xboxes and has tried it, please comment in the comments. So that's pretty much all you need to do to actually get it to work. If you then go to stream, that'll actually go off and stream the Xbox games, the console, etc. from here. I won't do that just yet. I just want to go through a couple of other things. I'll start with settings. We can sign out. I don't really recommend it, but you can if you want to. You can turn the live tile on or off so that the actual tile in the start menu will actually show information or not. Notifications, very basic. You can detect whether favourite online, Twitch broadcasting, and anyone messaging you, so that the notifications will show up in your action center if someone triggers one of these three conditions. Game DVR, this is pretty much whether we can record clips and screenshots using the game DVR. It's set to on by default, but you can switch it off if you like. You can then use your own shortcuts rather than using the default shortcuts that are sitting here, which is very basic. I'll go through these later on when I'm actually doing some streaming. Record that, which is basically recording in the background, very similar to the Xbox One when you use the Kinect to tell it to the Xbox to record that, or using the double home tap and then selecting whether you want to take a screenshot. So it's basically the same thing, and again I'll show the game bar to do that as well. This can affect the performance because it's always running in the background, and you can actually say how far back you want to go. Do you want to go back 30 seconds, 10 minutes, etc. for doing that. If you're on a laptop, you can actually just tell it whether you want to do it when it's on battery or you're using a wireless display. Clips, this is the recording clips. You can only like 30 minutes, 1 hour, or 2 hours. I'm not 100% sure how this works. I am assuming, I'm not 100% sure, as I said. I think it's rolling recordings, which means if it hits the 1 hour, it will automatically save it. But I'm not 100% sure if that will then start recording again or not. If it doesn't, you get a notification that it has stopped recording, and you can just quickly bring up the game bar and start the recording again. Saving captures, this is the location where all your clips and screenshots are going to be saved. And if you want to open the folder from here, if you can't remember or you're too lazy to actually go to the Windows Explorer, you can open it up from here. Video encoding and audio encoding, very self-explanatory. Just whether it's going to be a standard encoding or a high encoding on the quality that is actually recorded. Obviously, the higher the encoding, the quality and the resolution, it may affect your game performance. So just be wary of these settings. Game streaming, you've only got really three options here, which is high, medium, and low. As I said, these are. Sorry, not as I said. I assume that high is 1080p, medium is around 720p, and low is around standard definition or 576p. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just guessing on what I've done in my recordings and stuff and visually observed. So that's pretty much the settings. It's not much to it. And that is how to connect the Xbox and Windows 10 Xbox app to allow for streaming. So I'll just quickly run the stream. And as you can see now, I hope that's not too loud. Um, I'll just stop that for a minute. Okay, I just basically stopped the game from running because the music was playing in my ear, and I'm not too sure whether that got recorded. So if it did, it might have been more powerful than the volume of my voice. Okay, so let's just go and stream again. And we can see that we can maneuver around and do basically the same things that we could all do on the Xbox itself. Very straightforward. Everyone knows how to use the Xbox One by now. The icons up here, I'll explain some of these are pretty much explanatory. This will bring you back to the home screen on the Xbox One. We've got mute and unmute for voice, and we've got stop streaming, and we've got this little one here which basically shows down in the bottom here the bandwidth that it's currently using. We can see that it's pretty much aired out again. I don't know how they've managed to really stuff that up, but anyway, it just basically shows you how the bandwidth is currently going on your network, and obviously the less it's up here, the better off you are. Okay, so let's now look at some of the other features that the Xbox app is bringing to the table that you may not be familiar with, or you may be familiar with if you've been using the Smart Glass app. We'll just go to the home. This has already been explained. We've got the recent plays, game streaming, featured games, activity feed. We've got the where we can search for gamer tags. We can refresh our feeds and information here. We've got start a party. This is actually quite interesting. Starting a party. It is still beta, obviously. I'll just quickly run that, and it's crashed again. No. Okay. So we've got all the standard things, inviting to the party and game from here. We can mute the party. We can make the party an invite to only. Now, I do have issues. I have had issues with it. So I do suggest again making sure you do fill this out if you do use it and you do have problems, because it will get fixed very, very quickly if you make use of this information for the feedbacks. Suggestions, very straightforward. These are the people, obviously, that have followed me that I haven't quite followed back just yet, where I can either say I'm not interested in following you and it'll remove it from here, or I can add them and remove them. And it also shows people that I may be interested in. Obviously, friends of friends who play the same sort of games that I play. Although I don't play Minecraft, but obviously that could be a friend of a friend that's currently on my list that may play similar games that I play. I don't know how it fully works, but it's obviously suggesting friends to me. So that's pretty straightforward. The activity feed is very straightforward. It's the same as Smart Glass and on the Xbox itself, where you can actually go in and view the achievement. Plus, you can see any comments and reply to comments, like, share, and all that standard stuff from here. So it's not really any different. Where we can also leave comments. We can, add something to our activity feed from here as well. Recently played, you can see the the game scores of the recently played games. We can also go in and have a look at the achievements and that sort of stuff of the game, any captures of the game, the activity feed of the game, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's fairly straightforward. I won't explain this just yet. Well, actually, I will. If you got, actually, no, I won't do it just here. I won't do it here. What I will do is go back to here, and I'll explain that bit in a minute. Featured games, easily explained. Windows Store games, things that, games and things you may find interesting. I think it's based off what other games and apps you've been downloading from the Windows Store. Although I already played Microsoft Bingo and Farmville 2, got them installed, so I don't know why it's actually suggesting those to me. In fact, I've got most of that, so who knows. So what we've got now is this. You can treat this like any other social site, network, whatever you like to call it. This is basically your news feeds, so sort of like Facebook, where you get to see everything that your friends are doing. If you're interested in your own, we can go up to here where we can select our own profile. From here we can see our own feed, and obviously you can see the game achievements and stuff that I've been currently doing for the last bit. Achievements, we can see the most recent achievement we've received. Now, it doesn't show in chronological order, because you can see that on my activity I obviously had Twitch, and then I had World of Tanks in that order, whereas this doesn't seem to be any specific order except the fact that it's most recent. We can change that to Xbox One games only, as it shows the Microsoft Store stuff in here as well, or we can go other, which is the when it switches. It's interesting. It's taking its time switching. So other is basically probably defined as anything that's probably coming from the Windows Store. So any other device that happens to connect to the store that you can play games from the Windows Store is probably going to appear in here. Captures, very straightforward. We can filter on the captures by game clips and screenshots saved, or we can view them by most liked, most viewed, or newest. This is basically all the game clips that have already been recorded from the Xbox, and any future ones will pop up in here as well. Following, very straightforward. Obviously all the people that I'm currently following, plus we've got something new here that most people probably haven't seen before. Since I can't remember when it was updated, but they introduced a game hub where you can go in and actually follow games. And in this case here, I've got a couple that I've already selected, where you can actually go in and have a look at the activity feed for that game, as well as obviously seeing who plays it, the achievements for that game, captures. I won't go into all this stuff because it's very similar to the profile. So yeah, you can actually go in here, click on it as you would normally, bring up the what's name, and you can see all the information, make comments to it, and all that sort of stuff from within here if you want as well. Very straightforward, but I think this is a nice feature that probably a lot of people haven't used on the Xbox One, and followed the games. So obviously we can go up here and we can go unfollow or follow if we come across something that we might want to have a look at. If you think of it as like any other social network like Facebook and Google Plus, etc., it's no different to what you see there, where you can follow things and stuff like that. Obviously, we can play it from the console from here. I won't select that just yet. So that's pretty straightforward. So we can go back, and again, that's pretty straightforward. So as you can see, I've got three that I follow. So I like to keep up with what's going on with those three games. Although I don't play Shadow of Mordor much anymore these days. I pretty much haven't really played that for probably about 5 months or so now. Customize. This is basically everything about customizing your avatar and Xbox console. So basically, anything you can do by changing the colors down here is obviously going to change the colors on your Xbox, etc. You can also customize your avatar, customize your avatar as well as switching gamer pick, etc. like that. You can share your real name. Now I've got mine shared to certain real friends that I actually personally know and trust with playing with and all that sort of stuff, who know who I actually am. Whereas others won't see my real name. So you can change all that information from here if you want to as well. Appearing online and offline from here, you can appear online and offline by just just selecting here. More, you can actually do a little bit more, like changing your real. I think that you can only change your real name from here for this met, but I think there'll probably end up more stuff in there later on. So that's pretty much your profile. If you want to have a look at someone else's profile, you can do the same thing by either selecting on their name from wherever they appear. So I can select Aussie from here, or I can go and select him from down here somewhere. I then can go in and have a look at what he's been up to. I can see that he's been playing Elder Scrolls, and his last achievement was a day ago. So I can sit here and go, I can like that, and then I can go and comment on it if I really want to as well. And the same thing again here. I can actually click on it and view more information about the actual achievement, as well as view any more comments, etc., that have been made. Achievements and captures and following, exactly the same as what's on my profile. Obviously, I can invite to a party or a game from here as well. I can message him and send him a message on Facebook as well. Sorry, not Facebook, on the Xbox One. And of course, I can change the friendship that we're in, report, block, and mute in chat from here as well. So that's pretty much that. So if we just go back, actually, the next one, this one, I find this one a little bit useless, but I'll just quickly explain it. Any Windows Store game or app that can appear in here, where you can also add them if they don't. I find this useful if you've got a desktop game that you want to put a sort of track in here as well. It would be nice if it did the Xbox apps, but I guess that's at some point coming down the track. But for now, I think we'll just have to put up with what we've got here. So the next one is messages. Very straightforward again. Very similar to what's already the Xbox app. The Xbox One already does. And if you're familiar with Smart Glass, very similar thing. Creating new message, replying to messages down here, selecting who you want to chat to, and all that sort of stuff. So nothing really new, but I just thought I'd quickly show it. Activity alerts. is when someone replies. Like I've been getting a few liked activities from here, plus a couple of added friends that you can see. I can see the activity that they've liked from here. So anything, all comments, etc. As usual, I can do everything from here as well. Pretty straightforward, that one. Trophies, sorry, achievements. Just takes you to the profile and shows you the achievements. Just while I'm here, I'll just very quickly go into one of these as well, because I didn't do this before. As you can see, I've got 40% done, game score of 530, maximum tier of 7 at the moment. I've got a total damage dealt, etc. Probably the similar stuff that you'll probably find in the leaderboard stuff. I'm assuming that at some point this will probably show the rest of the leaderboard stuff. I don't know. Probably make a great suggestion for someone who wants to request it. But we can see all of our locked and unlocked achievements down here, plus the progress of the achievements if they have them. We can go in and have a look at that achievement. We can actually see else has made that achievement. Obviously, I had to select one that someone hasn't, none of my friends have actually done. So let's select this one now. Surely there's got to be some. Yep, here we go. So here we can see that Wolfie has unlocked that achievement, and she and I are the only ones who have unlocked that one within the last 90 days. Researching a tier 3 tank, same thing. Oh, actually, I thought there would have been a few more of that, because I know someone else on my list who's done that. So that's pretty straightforward. Again, we can play. I've done all that. Game captures, game DVR. Now, this is probably, again, no different to what you're probably used to in other areas. You can see all the... actually, first let me explain that this is on this device, or on this... It says on PC, but it's on this device. So this will show all the recordings that I've currently done through the Xbox app on to the device. We can also go and play the clip from here. We can share it, we can trim it, rename it, delete it, and open the folder, so we can actually go from the file explorer from the device itself. I'm going to make this go full screen for now, because I want to show you a couple of things that don't show up there. And the aspect ratio, I mean, you probably never use this, but if you're on a screen that you get sort of getting letterboxing, you can select that and that'll fix that up. So basically it just brings the top and the bottom of the screen to the edges, and just brings the chops off the left and right to make it look like it's full screen basically, and remove the black edges. Caster device, now that's an interesting one. Basically it can connect to other devices that are using the screencasting or mirror feature, or whatever you'd like to call it, where you can actually then mirror the device or cast the screen onto that device. So any capable device that has the option of receiving the information will show up on here, and then you can select that information. Like I said, these two only pop up in this section here when you're actually in full screen mode. Or I think when you're playing it, no. But if you do, I'll show you. I'll do it from another area later on. But if you do it from your activity feed and all sort of stuff, you will see that information there where you can actually see it as well. Sharing is straightforward, same as everywhere else. Trim. Trim is an interesting one because it pretty much has trim original, save copy, and cancel. Now, it works identical to the way the trimming on the Xbox works. The only difference is the save copy. I don't use the upload feature on, or the upload studio on the Xbox One that much, so I think it's very similar, but I don't recall this option. Basically, it just means that I can play a clip, come in here, go like that, and when I go save copy, it's going to trim that to there, and then save it as a copy. Now, if you're doing hour-long or 2-hour-long gaming sessions, and you just want to pick out sections of the game, you can come in here and just go, I just want to capture something in that section there, and then I'll save that as a copy. I'll then go back to the original, and then I'll say, well, no, I want to capture, trim into this section here. I'll save that as a copy. And then, of course, I could just do it one more time, and then just do that section there, and then save that as a copy. Then I've now got 3 snippets of that one original video, which I can then go into my favorite publishing tool, video publishing, whatever editing tool you want to use, to then do what you need to put it all together and make it all pretty, sort of thing. So that's pretty handy little feature there to you YouTubers. But there's nothing much really other than that. It would be nice if there was a little bit more features going on here, but it just doesn't happen. Oh, and one other thing too is, if you do a trim on a long file, don't be surprised if you go and select on the what's name. Actually, let me start again. Do not be surprised on these that it doesn't automatically show up on any changes for here. Say for instance, if I took one of these videos and I just trimmed it, say 2 seconds off either end on a 2-hour file, 2-hour video clip, for instance, it's going to take a while to save that back. So until that's finished saving, there's no way of actually knowing whether that's finished or not. So you just got to keep an eye on this and basically wait until it's finished. So if you're going to do multiple trims on a file, just be wary of that bit. If you're going to save it as a copy, it won't be an issue because you've still got the original to work from. But if you're doing it to the original game clip, you're going to have to need to wait before that's saved, before you can actually see whether you've actually clipped it in the right place. Trimmed it in the right places. So that's on this PC. We've got shared again, so we can actually see all the clips that we've got on the Xbox One, plus the community of as well. So that's pretty much the game DVR. It's pretty straightforward. If you're used to Upload Studio, it would be very similar to using that within this app as well. I'm not going to go into Windows Store because that's pretty straightforward. It's got no connection with Xbox Store at this stage. Hopefully they do integrate that, but until then, we just got to put up with what we've got. The last one left virtually is the One Guide. I don't have this set up. Well, I actually don't have a tuner attached to the console, so I don't get to use any of these features, but I assume that everything that you can do on the Xbox with your One Guide, you can actually do within here. So that is pretty much everything that... actually, before I forget, there is one thing. I can't remember whether I mentioned this or not, but with a party chat, if you're... A couple of times I've got it to crash by accidentally... I don't know how this works, but I think I started a party chat on here and it somehow got disconnected from here. But then the Xbox One took over. Anyway, long story short, somehow it thought I was on a party on there and a party on here, and decided to crack the shits with me. So the just be very careful here that if you do start a party here, I have had troubles where, like I said, it's crashed and I've gone in and selected a person from here, for instance, and I've tried to invite them back into the party, or I've gone in and seen that they're still in the party, and I've tried to join back into that party. So I have had issues. There has been an update since then, but I haven't used it since the update, so they may have fixed it, but don't quote me on that. The other problem too that I've noticed is that if you do a party from here, everyone else in the party, when you do a game stream and you actually record that game stream, the everyone else who is in that party can be heard or recorded through that recording, but it doesn't record you. So just be wary of that as well when you're doing any recordings and that stuff for your YouTube videos, or for other media sites. So I think they're aware of it. I think they're working on it, but I haven't gone through the feedback and whatnot to see if there is anything listed in there. But again, when you've used this and you get the feedback where you've had a great experience and all that sort of stuff, I would make sure that you do add anything that you want to provide feedback on features, etc. Just do use that. I think you can also do that down here to where you can rate the app and make suggestions down here as well. So that's the Xbox app. It's not complicated. It has quite a lot of nice nifty little things in there that probably Smart Glass hasn't had, which probably may have got if they didn't go down the Windows 10 route that they've gone. But it's nice. It's going to probably get a lot more enhancements down the track as a lot more people start using this, and provide a lot more feedback and etc. for it. So that's pretty much it. I think the last thing I could probably do is actually go and stream something. So as you can see, we're now streaming, so I can then go down and run a game. Now, I'm not too sure how loud that is. There is one other thing I should mention. If we bring up the control bar, game bar, we can move that around anywhere. We can use the record that, so it will do the last 10 minutes as well as doing a screen capture. And we can also do a record from here. Which I'll just quickly do so you can actually see I'm now recording. And I'll just quickly stop that, and then you can see the game clip recorded. We can also go in and have a few settings that we can change here as well. I'm just going to close that off because the music is fairly loud in my ears. So I don't know how loud that's going to come through on the recording. That's pretty much it. I think I explained all this up here, where you've got the bandwidth. You can change the all that sort of stuff. Mute and unmute the party chat from here if you want to. By selecting this, you can go back to the home screen. Um, I don't think there's pretty much. Oh yeah, and again, more feedback. So if you do run into issues, as I said, make sure you do all these reporting and feedbacks. Microsoft are listening, so your voice counts. If you think there's something that could be better done, or something that they've missed that would be something that anyone could benefit from, or just general great enhancements, please add them. Microsoft are listening. So that is the Xbox app on Windows 10. So I hope you've enjoyed my recording, my video, and hope to read all your comments down below. Thank you very much.